I'm very happy to bring to you our first chapter in our Chronicles series, Brass and Wood. So what exactly is Chronicles all about? It's about a couple of things really. It's about movement and textural-based performances. We really wanted with this instrument to capture some of that liveliness you get when recording a real musician. Through traditional-based sampling, sometimes that can be pretty hard, and you have to do your best in sequencing land to add a lot of those touches, human touches, afterwards. But sometimes that can take out a bit of the vibe of just playing and getting that instant inspiration. So this was the key with Chronicles. We really wanted to create an instrument that had that instant inspiration there. So now what I would like to do is just jump on in and show you how this instrument works. If you're keen to hear how it sounds, this is probably not the video for you. We have other videos for that. But if you're interested to know how everything works, please stay tuned. Okay, let's dive on in. Here we have our homepage. We've really tried to keep everything quite simple. You've got the virtual, what I like to call virtual scoring stage here. You've got all the instruments available. So we've got flugelhorn, saxophone, clarinet, and trumpet. You can click on these icons and move them around the stage. So if you move them to the back of the stage, they'll sound more further back in the room. Obviously, if you move left or right, that also takes into account that movement, whether you want them more left in the room or right in the room. Another thing too is you can turn off instruments pretty easily here. So let's say you load up a snapshot and you don't want the trumpet. You can click on that and it deactivates the trumpet. And you'll only hear these three. And down below, you've got reverb. So remember, with this is just an artificial convolution reverb. You don't have to have that on. You can turn it off if you don't want. Because all these instruments were recorded in an actual scoring stage. So they do have that natural 3-dimension to their sound. So when you're moving an icon around the stage, it's actually adjusting the microphone mix. So if you move it further back in the room, you're going to be getting more of the room mics and less of the close mics. But if you move it further up on the stage, you're getting predominantly close mics. So if you like your instruments to sound ultra dry and not so roomy, then just yank it all the way to the front. And that's how you can get that ultra detailed close mix sound. But then if you're after more of a bit of a balance, then you can just move it a bit back in the room, still having a bit of that nice close detail, but with a bit of extra room reflection. I do like to add a little bit of verb, it just lengthens out the room a little bit, but it's not vital, just depends on what you're after. Noise. So this actually adds a bit of room noise. If you turn it down, it's gone. Sometimes this consistent room noise is quite handy just to add a little bit of realism. I quite like adding it in there. Dynamics, this is more about the feel. If you want the samples to have more of a dynamic feel when you're playing, then you can increase this up. Or if you want to flatten the dynamics of the playing, you can bring it down a little bit. Onto the advanced page. A lot of these are very common features that a lot of people would be pretty familiar with. Velocity curve, you can change that through here, or simple click and drag. Dynamic range, same as on the home page, but you can access it from there. Attack and release, this is global, so if you wish to change the global attack and release of everything, you can do that. Now, DVC limiter is directly connected to DVC settings. So firstly, I should probably explain what is this all about. Well, it's not a true DVC is probably what people would know, but I think the easiest way to kind of think of this is more as a voice limiter. So one of the issues about a movement-based library is that we ended up sampling a lot of loops. So let's say we took a rhythm and then we recorded the musician playing that rhythm across the full range of that instrument. Because we want everything to be synced to the tempo of your DAW, you have to use Time Machine. And this is a great part of Kontakt. But if you end up playing a lot of those Time Machine based loops and stacking them all up on top of each other, it becomes pretty processor intensive. One way to help manage that a little bit is using these DVC settings. Here what we've done is you've got your 4 instruments and we've put a total of 15 voices per instrument. So if you end up holding, you can only really have up to 15 notes being held at any one time. If in a situation, you can get a little bit creative with this. If you want to, let's say, you hold down your first 3 notes, but you don't want the clarinet to come in on those first 3 notes, you can bring that up to 4. So the clarinet will only start playing on the 4th note that you hold down. Another thing to consider too is that if you're finding that your computer is struggling a little bit to play back a lot, you might want to bring down the max amount of voices. And a simple way to do this is now jumping back to the DVC limiter. You can click on that and bring that down, and then it will just bring everything down by an equal amount. So it's pretty simple really, and this is pretty important. So I would say 99% of the time you'd want to have this on. It's more acting as a protection measure. But there are situations where some people may find that you might need to reduce the maximum amount of voices because your computer might be having a little bit of difficulty. Okay, and that's this page, and now jumping up to the Builder page. So we have our instrument already loaded. It's a basic cool swelling patch here. Very simply, we have your 4 instruments at the top, and each instrument you can have a total of 6 different articulations. Currently we have 2 articulations loaded. So to be able to load an articulation, you just click on this little plus sign. And then you have your categories, so motion and textural. So if we click on, say, motion, you've got your subcategories. So whole, half, quarter, eighth, 16th, triplets. So let's say we want an eighth. Okay, so staccato. So we click on that. Okay, so you can get a bit of a preview, and the preview volume is based down right down here. If you don't want to have a preview, you can just turn that off. But I find it's quite useful to be able to listen before you do your final selection. So let's say we want that. We grab that and drag and click the little tick button. And there we go. We've got our extra articulation down there. But for now, let's get rid of that, and I'll explain how the instruments are set up. So that's pretty much how you load an articulation. Once you've got your articulations loaded, you have a few options here. You've got the ability to assign an articulation to a key switch. Currently, everything's assigned to C0 because I want everything to play all at once. If you wanted to create a bit of a patch or a set where different articulations are assigned to different key switches, you can easily do that by setting it up around here. And then the next part is velocity. You can choose when certain samples play based on velocity pressure. Here, the way I wanted this one to be set up, we have two different swells. So if you play softer between 1 and 114, you'll get the slow wave playing. But then if you play above that, between 115 and 127, you'll get the fast wave. And when you set up a patch like this, it can be quite intuitive. It's pretty exciting. And up here, we have the little cog, which allows you to reset all velocities or clear articulations. So if you reset, it resets all the velocities, but you need to do that for each channel. So it will just reset only each channel at a time. And then if you just want to clear it, you can go clear articulations. And that's pretty much it. And I mean, aside from, we've got these two little icons here. This is handy if you want, let's say you load up 6 different articulations. So very quickly, we'll just chuck in some things. Okay. And the first one is starting at C0, but then instead of having to manually go and change that to C sharp 0, etc., you can just click on this icon, and then it will chromatically place them all up like that. But then if you want to do more of a stacking approach, you can just click here. So whatever your first one is set, it will stack the rest the same, or will chromatically go up from there. Other than that, that's how the instrument works. It's pretty simple. So I hope this little brief overview is helpful, and please check out any of the other videos that we have for more of a direct look at how the instrument sounds. Thanks again. Keep safe.